greater the stress and the greater the capacity for humor, as well as the necessity for it. In the spirit world, the opposite is true. The higher we ascend, the less the need for the diversions or reversion experiences. But proceeding down the scale of spirit life from paradise to the seraphic hosts, there is an increasing need for the mission of mirth and the ministry of merriment. Those beings who most need the refreshment of periodic reversion to the intellectual status of previous experiences are the higher types of the human species, the Urantians, angels, and the material sons, together with all similar types of personality. Humor should function as an automatic safety valve to prevent the build-up of excessive pressures due to the monotony of sustained and serious self-contemplation in association with the intense struggle for developmental progress and noble achievement. Humor also functions to lessen the shock of the unexpected impact of fact or of truth, rigid, unyielding fact, inflexible, ever-living truth. The mortal personality, never sure as to which will be encountered, through humor swiftly grasps, sees the point and achieves insight, the unexpected nature of the situation, be it fact or be it truth. While the humor of Urantia is exceedingly crude and most inartistic, it does serve a valuable purpose both as a health insurance and as a liberator of emotional pressure, thus preventing injurious nervous tension and over-serious self-contemplation. Humor and play, relaxation, are never reactions of progressive exertion. Always are they the echoes of a backward glance, a reminiscence of the past. Even on Urantia and as you now are, you always find it rejuvenating when, for a short time, you can suspend the exertions of the newer and higher intellectual efforts and revert to the more simple engagements of your ancestors. The principles of Urantia play life are philosophically sound and continue to apply on up through your ascending life, through the circuits of Avona to the eternal shores of paradise. As ascendant beings, you are in possession of personal memories of all former and lower existences, and without such identity memories of the past, there would be no basis for the humor of the present, either mortal laughter or Urantia mirth. It is this recalling of past experiences that provides the basis for present diversion and amusement, and so you will enjoy the celestial equivalents of your earthly humor all the way up through your long Urantia and then increasingly spiritual careers. And that part of God, the adjuster, which becomes an eternal part of the personality of an ascendant mortal, contributes the overtones of divinity to the joyous expressions, even spiritual laughter, of the ascending creatures of time and space. 5. The Mansion World Teachers. The Mansion World Teachers are a corps of deserted but glorified cherubim and sanobim. When a pilgrim of time advances from a trial world of space to the mansion and associated worlds of Urantia training, he is accompanied by his personal or group seraphim, the guardian of destiny. In the worlds of mortal existence, the seraphim is ably assisted by cherubim and sanobim, but when her mortal ward is delivered from the bonds of the flesh and starts out on the ascendant career, when the post-material or Urantia life begins, the attending seraphim has no further need of the ministrations of her former lieutenants, the cherubim and sanobim. These deserted assistants of the ministering seraphim are often summoned to Universe headquarters, where they pass into the intimate embrace of the Universe Mother Spirit, and then go forth to the system training spheres as Mansion World Teachers. These teachers often visit the material worlds and function from the lowest mansion worlds on up to the highest of the educational spheres connected with the Universe headquarters. Upon their own motion, they may return to their former associative work with the ministering seraphim. There are billions upon billions of these teachers in Satania, and their numbers constantly increase because, in the majority of instances, when a seraphim proceeds inward with an adjuster-fused mortal, both a cherubim and a sanobim are left behind. Mansion World Teachers, like most of the other instructors, are commissioned by the Melchizedeks. They are generally supervised by the Urantia companions, but as individuals and as teachers they are supervised by the acting heads of the schools or spheres wherein they may be functioning as instructors. These advanced cherubim usually work in pairs as they did when attached to the seraphim. They are by nature very near the Urantia type of existence, and they are inherently sympathetic teachers of the ascending mortals and most efficiently conduct the program of the Mansion World and Urantia educational system. In the schools of the Urantia life, these teachers engage in individual, group, class, and mass teaching. On the Mansion World, such schools are organized in 3 general groups of 100 divisions each: the schools of thinking, the schools of feeling, and the schools of doing. When you reach the constellation, there are added the schools of ethics, the schools of administration, and the schools of social adjustment. On the Universe Headquarters worlds, you will enter the schools of philosophy, divinity, and pure spirituality. Those things which you might have learned on Earth, but which you failed to learn, must be acquired under the tutelage of these faithful and patient teachers. There are no royal roads, shortcuts, or easy paths to paradise. Irrespective of the individual variations of the route, you master the lessons of one sphere before you proceed to another. At least this is true after you once leave the world of your nativity. One of the purposes of the Urantia career is to effect the permanent eradication from the mortal survivors of such animal vestigial traits as procrastination, equivocation, insincerity, problem avoidance, unfairness, and ease-seeking. The Mansonia life early teaches the young Urantia pupils that postponement is in no sense avoidance. After the life in the flesh, time is no longer available as a technique of dodging situations or of circumventing disagreeable obligations. Beginning service on the lowest of the tarrying spheres, the Mansion World teachers advance with experience through the educational spheres of the system and the constellation to the training worlds of Salvington. They are subjected to no special discipline either before or after their embrace by the Universe Mother Spirit. They have already been trained for their work while serving as seraphic associates on the worlds native to their pupils of Mansion World sojourn. They have had actual experience with these advancing mortals on the inhabited worlds. They are practical and sympathetic teachers, wise and understanding instructors, able and efficient guides. They are entirely familiar with the ascendant plans and thoroughly experienced in the initial phases of the progression career. Many of the older of these teachers, those who have long served on the worlds of the Salvington Circuit, are re-embraced by the Universe Mother Spirit, and from this second embrace, these cherubim and sanubim emerge with the status of seraphim. 6. Urantia World Seraphim, Transition Ministers. While all orders of angels, from the planetary helpers to the supreme seraphim, minister on the Urantia worlds, the transition ministers are more exclusively assigned to these activities. These angels are of the 6th order of seraphic servers, and their ministry is devoted to facilitating the transit of material and mortal creatures from the temporal life in the flesh on into the early stages of Urantia existence on the 7 Mansion worlds. You should understand that the Urantia life of an ascending mortal is really initiated on the inhabited worlds at the conception of the soul, at that moment when the creature mind of moral status is indwelt by the spirit adjuster, and from that moment on, the mortal soul has potential capacity for supermortal function, even for recognition on the higher levels of the Urantia spheres of the local universe. You will not, however, be conscious of the ministry of the transition seraphim until you attain the Mansion worlds, where they labor untiringly for the advancement of their mortal pupils, being assigned for service in the following 7 divisions. 1. Seraphic Evangels. The moment you conscientize on the Mansion worlds, you are classified as evolving spirits in the records of the system. True, you are not yet spirits in reality, but you are no longer mortal or material beings. You have embarked upon the pre-spirit career and have been duly admitted to the Urantia life. On the Mansion worlds, the seraphic evangels will help you to choose wisely among the optional routes to Urantia, Salvington, Uversa, and Havona. If there are a number of equally advisable routes, these will be put before you, and you will be permitted to select the one that most appeals to you. These seraphim often make recommendations to the 24 advisors on Jerusalem concerning that course which would be most advantageous for each ascending soul. You are not given unrestricted choice as to your future course, but you may choose within the limits of that which the transition ministers and their superiors wisely determine to be most suitable for your